Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Today I got a fish room, a long awaited fish room update for y'all. Lots of new fish, lots of new reptiles. So much has changed, so much has gotten done since the last time I showed the fish room. That's just what we're going to do. We're going to go around and look at everything. So the big changes are going to be the completion of this rack. It's not complete, but it's 99%. Still got a little painting to do here and there. Got to run risers across the top for lights, things like that. But yeah, so this is going to hold 18 20 talls and 3 40 breeders in the middle. Got this little girl down here, Argentine black and white tegu. Also got the air loop system done, which comes obviously around the entire room. Oh, missed a spot right there apparently. And then the next big project is going to be the rack for this wall. So all of this is going to be going away. This rack here may or may not be going away, which has emerald tree skinks up here. There's 5 of them. Super cool dudes, super active. Really enjoying them. And of course we've got the leaf-tail gecko in here, somewhere up there. Her light's turned off already. Down here we have the water skink, who never comes out. And then just some quail and pheasants that hatched out recently down there. So all this is going to go away. In the corner here there will be a new rack for, I'm guessing 12 10-gallon tanks. Could be for breeding of pistos, fry, grow out, things like that. And then the rest of this wall is going to be 20 longs. It's either going to be 9 or 12. I haven't decided how cramped I want to make it yet. So everything in these tanks are all the same, except the aspidors are spawning like mad. I have so many, it's crazy. Obviously the amount of shrimp in here is pretty nuts as well. And I have another tank of the aspidors, same aspidors, aspidors roachi here. You can see they're breeding in here, they're breeding in there, so many. Some of the other new fish are these tetras right here, which aren't very colored up, but when they are fired up, they are absolutely beautiful. These are the blueberry tetra, or Hyphesobricon wadii, something like that. There's a pair of empire gudgeons, which here's one of them here. Goes in the back, so those are new as well. Where'd he go? So there's one there. There's also one lonely female zebra acara in here. And there's probably other fish in here I'm forgetting, but you know, what are you gonna do? These tanks I just set up, they're cycling right now, although there is a single male Nanochromis Paralis in here. Just wasn't looking the greatest, so he's in here quarantining. Down here is a trio of Apistogramma benchi, or the Inca 50, grouped with some false Julii. There's also a longfin green dragon. But all these fish have a ways to go before they start breeding, so they're going to grow up together in there. Over here we have black Schwarzei Corridoras, who are 100% ready to spawn. Just need them to get going, essentially. And then over here is not green, but orange lasers, which also have not spawned, but should be spawning anytime now. Also, my new favorite plant, Cypress helferi. Super cool grass-like plant that's almost impossible to find. I don't know why nobody carries this plant, but nobody does, and I love it. Then we'll come down to this side, and here we have a pair of blue death feigning beetles. Right here you're going to see some extreme pellets. These guys go bonkers for extreme food. It's pretty crazy. Over here we have my group of stirbicories. And all these fish have only been in here for less than a week. Oh, and here there's just a few Brocus splendens. I ordered 12, only 2 survived, so I gotta get more of them. Up here is something new for me, which is really cool, is these are the T-bar cichlids, and I believe I ended up with 2 males and 2 females. There's also a spiny tail eel in there, and then zipper loaches, which we can't see because they're all the way in the back. And even if I move the light back there, it still doesn't pick it up on camera. But the zipper loaches are easily becoming one of my favorite loaches because they act more like gobies or darters. And I get that their behavior is very similar, but here we go. Here's a little head poking out right here. Just the way they move and the way they clown about, it's very goby-ish, and I've just loved watching them. Once more tanks have cycled, I'll get them in their own tanks so they can hopefully start spawning. Now here's some really cool fish. These are Pow ABI. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but there is a trio in here. You can see them glass surfing in the back, 2 in the back. And we think we might have 2 separate species here, or you know, the 2 in the back might be males or females, and then this one might be the opposite. But they just, when you look at the patterning, the colors, they just don't look the same. So where they come from, there's actually 2 separate species sharing the same water, and usually the only way to tell the difference is when they're in spawning color. So it's very possible that we might have 2 separate species here. We'll just have to watch them grow and see what happens. But as you can see, they love snails. Found a couple small ones we'll throw in. See if they're willing to eat on camera. Oh yeah. Usually not bashful. Yeah, there's one more for you, buddy, if you come up here. Oh, I heard the crunch on that one. Over here we have a really cool loach, at least I think is really cool. This is the pasta loach, and they have like some white, not white, but yellow on the fins, and then the males will have that red spot. Usually it's a little bit more pronounced, but again, these are new, they're just kind of getting used. This guy's sucking on an extreme wafer there. They love hanging out in the pot back there, which is kind of funny. Again, loaches, they're not quite as goofy as gobies, but pretty dang close. This guy's finished up his meal. Oh, there goes the zipper loach in with the eel. So I was on my Facebook group and I posted that I was thinking about getting into Central American cichlids. Now these are not my first Central Americans. I've had 2 others, so technically this is my 3rd go at Central American cichlids, and this is what I chose. There was lots of suggestions, but these are what I chose, and I'm excited to watch them grow out. You notice this one has a hang-on back filter on it because I put in a really dirty sponge to get this tank to instantly cycle, and it made quite a mess. So just doing some quick vacuum cleanup there. We go up here, we have a small group of CW123 or C123, which is the yellowfin. There's more in this tank. Slowly, as more tanks get set up, this tank is getting taken down and it'll get rescaped and redone. Then if we come up here, we have ornate tiger sand loach. And these are probably the most active of all my loaches. They're always just swimming around, goofing around, doing whatever. Absolutely love them. You know, you don't get like a lot of color with loaches, but you just get a ton of behavior. And they're so inexpensive. I mean, I think I paid like $5 for these zipper loaches. The pasta loaches over here were like $10. The sand tiger loaches, again, right around $10. They're just a nice, inexpensive fish with a lot of personality. Here's the Ancistrus. It's an L59, and I don't have lights on a lot of these tanks yet, so we're not going to get a good look. But maybe you can see, here we go, now you can see the white spots. That's not ick. They are kind of a brownish black body with the white spots. And just an Ancistrus that you don't see very often. There's 2 for sure males, I mean, obviously. And then the females, I believe, are just on the back wall. There we go. Oh, you can really see the spots on that one. Look at that, that's a good looking fish. What do we got up here? There's the other one. So again, as soon as they get settled in and start throwing food down their throats, hopefully they'll start spawning. Here is the big change that I love. This chair is absolutely amazing for the fish room. I picked it up at Harbor Freight. It was like 80 bucks. It's just a nice rolling chair for the fish room. Don't mind the floor. I don't know what I'm going to do with the floor yet. Either paint it or I don't know. I'm taking suggestions. Leave them in the comments. So we've got this menagerie right here. I don't know what to call it. It's got a little bit of everything, including 5 red-eye, red-tailed puffers that all live in here happy. I mean, there's even ruby barbs in here. I mean, seriously, there's so many random fish. Of course, there's cories in here. And yeah, this is kind of, when I had to tear down tanks, everything kind of went in this tank. And so far, it's worked out. The puffers, which are kind of famous for not being communal puffers, are actually very communal, I guess. I don't know. They don't attack each other. They're not aggressive towards anyone else. There's some Apisto abacaxis in here. I don't know if we're gonna see them. Again, we have another puffer over here just to prove that there are multiple puffers in this tank. But you see all the crap in here. There's so many line of sight breaks. Coriodoras virginiae there. There's so many line of sight breaks that's probably why they get along. I don't know. But here's one of the female Apistos down here in the corner. Actually, that might be the male. There's too many plants in the way. But I got to get them out into their own tank soon. There's some glass catfish in there. I mean, there's so many random fish. Here's a little Julii cory in there, apparently. So, yeah, all kinds of random stuff. This is getting taken down as well as we set up more tanks. Again, we pull from here. Plants, hardscape, fish. So, that's what's going on with this tank. Now, if we come down here to my rack of 20 longs, there's 3 20 longs. This has Schneider skinks in it, but they're already burrowed and they're sleeping the night away, so we won't be able to see them. But this mess right here, so I knew it was a bad idea to do CO2 and stem plants in a 20 long. I knew it, and I did it anyways because I thought it would be fun, but it was a nightmare. I'm having to trim plants every single day, so one day I just got fed up and I just ripped everything out. There used to be just a whole wall of stem plants here, and I just ripped it all out. And now, of course, there's too many nutrients. I'm getting algae. But you know what? At least I'm not in here trimming plants every single day. It honestly, I mean, it was worse than this tank. And look at this tank. Again, I had to disconnect CO2 from this tank as well. And everything's just over here sitting in a corner in a mess right now. So, yeah. That's, it was just too much. I knew it would be too much, but at the time, I only planned on having like 9 tanks, and it wasn't going to be that big a deal, but as you can see, plans have changed. I'm going to end up with about 30 or 40 tanks by the time this is all done, and I just don't have time to do that kind of maintenance. However, I will be taking this CO2 and moving it to the 40 breeders once they're set up. So we'll be back. Well, we will have some nice planted tanks in here. It won't just all be random breeder tanks. And speaking of breeding, these Aspidoras have been spawning in here like crazy. I can't even begin to fathom how many are in here. It's hard to tell. I ripped out this whole middle section a couple days ago, and there's some Coriodoras melani in there too, and then obviously a bunch of what used to be orange shrimp that have now been in here so long they're kind of turning back red. So I've been pulling the orange ones out so I can start a fresh colony of orange shrimp. And then there's also some pygmy sunfish in here, but they're so small, even if I saw one, I don't know that the camera would even see it. They're they're basically not much bigger than these snails right here. But when they're in the plants and swimming around, it's really hard to see them. And I think there's actually one behind this clump right here. But there's a male that usually hangs out in here, which is kind of nice. He's usually up in front, but of course now that the camera's here, he's not. And then the female, there's a male that hangs out here, a male that hangs out here, there's a female that hangs out back by the sponge, and I was hoping they were spawning back there, but I've yet to see any fry, so who knows if they are. Hopefully they are. So that's basically it as far as what's new in the fish room. There's still some stuff that I haven't shown that I'm saving for like the final reveal, the final fish room tour, like a caiman lizard, some other pretty rare fish. that I didn't want to show off just yet. But I do want to answer a few questions. So the main question I get is, what kind of sand do I use? This is it right here. It's Secrete Commercial Medium Sand. It's 100 pounds. Runs about 18 bucks. I get it at Home Depot, but apparently not every Home Depot sells it. Mine has probably 1,000 bags of these just sitting there, so I guess I'm one of the lucky ones, but this is just really nice sand that I'll probably be using in every single tank. And then I mentioned I didn't have lighting yet, so what am I going to use for lighting? Obviously I have, you know, shop lights up here, but as far as the tanks, everything is just kind of a random mix, and I'm really excited about this. Check this out. The whole case of Aquarium Co-op Easy Plant 36-inch LEDs. Every single tank in the fish room is going to be outfitted with this light. Super excited. Huge shout out to Aquarium Co-op for supplying those to me. Very, very excited. And one of the reasons I want these lights, there's many reasons, but one of the reasons are the controller. Now this is the old controller. The new one will have a display the light intensity, but I'm going to be mounting the remotes to all the lights right here. Now they're going to be hooked up to timers, but I wanted to be able to adjust the intensity of the light. And that is because my lighting needs are going to be changing depending on what I'm doing. Am I growing plants? Am I spawning fish? And by turning it down, I can save a little money on my power bill. Not that it's going to be any significant amount, but I'm building this fish room to be able to change up and redo things, because we all know we get tired of the hobby, what we want to do, what we want to spawn, what we want to keep. Everything always changes over time. So these racks, they can hold 3 20-gallon tanks or 140 breeder. Or I can get even more crazy on the top here and put just about anything I want. So in a couple years, if I decide, hey, I'm done breeding bottom dwellers, I want to breed something else, I can get 30 breeders, 40 breeders, cube. Like, I mean, there's really no limit on this rack. It's built to be able to take a lot of different sizes, so that's pretty neat. The rack that'll be coming over here won't. It'll obviously be all 20 longs, but it's still going to be modular, so I can take out the entire rack if I want to. The 10-gallon rack over here, again, completely modular, and I'm just designing it so I can just easily move things in and out going forward, because that's always been a hiccup for me in my fish room. It's always been set it and forget it, and it's been such a pain to change up what I'm doing after the fact. So this is just going to make it a lot easier for me. But that's going to be it for this update video. Lights are starting to turn out. It's getting late, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Visit aquariumcoop.com. I'll have a link down below. Show them some love for helping me out. I'd appreciate it, and I'll see you all on the next one.